Yes Jondoe. I've been talking to John Doe for about 2 months now, and I think it's kind of safe to say that we're damn near in love. I know it might be a little too soon to say that, but that's how we feel. We talk on the phone all day and all night when we're apart. And sometimes I would stay at his mom's house with him so that he didn't have to drive all the way to the east side. And plus we could smoke at his mom's house, and that always made it a little easier for me to relax. Sometimes I would sit and think, what the hell am I doing here? My parents would never allow me to hang out with a guy like John Doe. And not to mention he was way older than me. Yes, 16 years older. But I didn't care about none of that. He made me feel special. The only person that knew my body better than me. And I enjoyed hanging out with him and just being with him every minute of the day. I can tell by his ran-down apartments that he wasn't rich, but he never came to see me without bringing flowers or some sorts of chocolates to show me that he was a gentleman. And I did things for him like surprise shopping sprees or reserve us a dinner at a nice restaurant and just role play like two celebrities. Although I didn't get my parents' inheritance money, my parents always made sure I had a nice savings account. Originally, I had enough money to get me by for at least a year or two, but by the way I was spending, I realized I needed a plan B fast. And being 17 years old without any work experience, I knew it would be kind of hard for me to find a job anywhere. So we decided to put the rest of the money down on a nice apartment, and hopefully he'll be able to handle the bills with all the nights he spent at his sister's apartments, also known as baby mama's bill. You would think that he'd be rich by now, but it never failed. Every time he left, he came back with the exact amount that he left with. But I was okay with that because I knew he was trying. And plus, I can make extra money by babysitting my new neighbor's kids. Carmen was my new upstairs neighbor. I heard her kids bouncing off the walls before I ever met her. I always wondered what I would say to her whenever I met her about them badass kids. But she was beautiful. She had pretty brown skin with long curly hair. Her husband was in jail since the birth of their 3-year-old daughter. He was sentenced to 20 years for a murder case he caught for shooting a man down for breaking into their house. Carmen's promised she'd stay by his side, considering that he went down for defending their family. And Carmen made it look easy being a wife of a prisoner. All she ever did was work, church, and home. The same weekly routine every week. And being somewhat of a single mother of 5 kids would be a struggle for anyone. But I've never seen her kids go without food, clothes, or shoes. And she was actually doing pretty damn good for herself. I didn't charge her much, and I kind of enjoyed going over to her apartments playing mom to her children while she'd be working the second shift at the nursing home. I knew I could never be as good as a woman as she was. And the only bad habit she had was her Mary Jane. She needed it to keep her calm and balanced for at least the next 17 years while her husband was in jail. But most of all, she was a great listener. I would tell her whenever John Doe and I had disagreements, and she would always be there to just listen and give me the best advice when needed. Every now and then, she would hit me with a Bible verse to back up her reasoning, and that's when I would shut the whole conversation down. Yes, I grew up in the church and all, but it was always a little weird to me how people took the Bible so serious. It became more like politics, and God and I hadn't spoken much since he took my family and my brother from me. The last time I kept Carmen's kids was last week. I remember that day so well because it was the best and worst day of our relationship all in one. I stayed at Carmen's apartment that night to watch her kids while she picked up a third shift. And by the time I made it back to my apartment, I was so amazed by the surprise. There was rose petals leading everywhere to our bedroom. And there was even a huge teddy bear holding a card, balloon, roses, and a bottle of Chardonnay. He also took the time out to make a bubble bath for me. All I could think was not bad for a 3-month anniversary. Imagine what he does when he decides to marry me. We made love all morning and afternoon long until around 7 p.m. we decided to go for dinner and catch a movie. Everything was perfect. I had on my black and gold Gucci dress with my open-toe stilettos. I even took the time to straighten my hair, something I hadn't done in a while. At this point, my hair was flowing down the middle of my back. And honestly, I fell in love with my damn self as I walked past the mirror. And John Doe pretty much had on all black everything as well, with a black and gold hat to match his black and gold retro Jordans. We definitely looked like we were meant to be together. And by the time we made it to the movies, the line was extremely long, and we had been contemplating on leaving, but we figured why not stay? We needed to get out more. Once we made it here, I knew I looked good when I left the house, but at this time, every man in the line apparently felt the same way. It was so awkward watching the men stand right beside their dates and still attempt to sneak a peek at me. I thought the guys liked me in school, but these guys were gushing all over me, and obviously Jondoe saw the same thing. I felt him do little things like rub my butt and kiss me on my neck, just so that people saw that he was there with me. Damn, I heard one of the guys say as I walked by. I giggled a little because I thought it was a bold move, but definitely unexpected. But not as unexpected as that slap I felt to the back of my head. I felt like my head was about to roll off of my body. I looked over at Jondoe, and I swear I saw the devil in him. He gripped my hands even tighter and said, "Now smile, bitch." Yes, all eyes were on me even harder now. I didn't know what to think. I was so embarrassed and just wanted to get through the line. We get into the theater, and he wraps his arms around me as if nothing ever happened. I was still pissed and couldn't tell you a thing that happened in the movie. We had a very silent ride home, and if it was up to me, it would have stayed that way when we got home. "So I guess you're going to have a funky-ass attitude all night," yells Jondoe. "You slapped me in the back of my head. What do you expect?" I yell back. Before I could say anything else, this time I felt the slap across my face. I also felt about 4 more slaps immediately behind it. Within seconds, my little apartment turned into a WWE ring. I tried to fight back, but it was pointless. The more I fought, the harder I got slammed. After about 45 minutes of straight getting my ass kicked, he finally picks me up from the puddle of my blood and lays me in the bed. He gets in the shower and cool off as if he just ran a marathon, dries off, and then lays right next to me. I was scared and hurt mentally and physically. I was sad for myself and didn't know what to think. He then says, "Shasha, come here." All I could think was, I know this Negro is not about to try to apologize after he just stone cold Steve Austin my ass. I slowly lean my aching body closer to his and say, "Yes, Jondoe? Come over here and suck my dick."